among those whom thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what thou hast judged. Surely thou judgest, and none can judge against thee, and he whom thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art thou, O Lord, and exalted be thee above what they set up besides thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is thy servant and apostle. Amen.
But I want you to remember that you're in the day and time when that you can, if you want to, be a great nation.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1 ounce 39 millimeter coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com.
Greetings, everyone. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. Welcome to people who are new to the show. This is an extension of my brands, The Mind of an Entrepreneur, The Authentic You, and it really was born out of how when the morning time, when people would come to my house and stay over, or, we would go on trips, the morning was always just such a divine time to have conversation over tea. I got me some chai this morning, or coffee, and really just talk about things that's just on your mind, what you woke up with. And so I decided to just start doing this Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks. My concept was to just kind of be on the couch, cozy, chit-chatting and talking to y'all. But I have to admit that I'm a little lazy just to be moving the computer around and getting the lighting set up. And some of y'all said y'all sick of my books background, but some of y'all said y'all thought that I was trying to look smart, but I just like books and it's comfortable. Sometimes we do it in the front of the fireplace, little fireside chat. Sometimes we'll move around. So I'm gonna get the little scene set up so we can be cozy, like we sitting around talking. And next time one of my cousins or family members or somebody comes to stay at my house and we have these talks in the morning, although some of them, they don't have talks that can be aired in the public, but maybe we'll tape it. Maybe we'll do something like that just to kind of take the show to another level. But in the meanwhile, I'm just doing with y'all what I normally would do if I had guests. So welcome, welcome. How was y'all's week? Hope it was good. Let me know in the chat how your week went. I was struck this week by a quote from Marianne Williamson, and I actually put it in the chat. And she said, "Greed has been speaking loudly for so long. Hate has been speaking loudly for so long. Liars have been speaking loudly for so long." And then she said, "It's time for love to stop whispering." And I found this so interesting because, I meet with a lot of you know, brand strategists and public relation people. Sometimes it's people I know, sometimes it's people who just kind of decide that they want to meet with me and talk to me about how they think my brand should be looking and stuff like that. And the interesting thing is that there are things, and that whisper, let me say this, the whisper is not necessarily talking in a whispering tone of voice. It's just taking non-action or standing down because you're afraid of the loud haters and the loud liars and the loud greedy people. And so sometimes we don't really say what's really happening. We don't speak truth into power. We move slowly, and there. It's interesting because the corporate type of brand strategist are always telling me what parts of me they think I should whisper. And I find it so fascinating because you all who know me know that I spent my entire life to reconcile all of who I am into one person. And so I wonder if it's like the old me attracting some of that, or is this just people who are scared? And somebody has said to me, you should not use Sajdah, just use Wendy. And then I've had people say, don't say Black people. And let me say something to you all about that. For me, I'm unapologetically Black. It's part of my spirituality. Being Black is a spiritual statement. It's a political statement. It's a statement of love. It's a statement of connection. And yeah, we should all be floating through the universe without having to find solace in certain things. But being Black represents love to me. And so I wouldn't be anything other. If I had to come back as another person right now, I wouldn't come back as anything other than a Black woman. And I love being Black. I love being a woman. I love being a Black woman. I love being a Black Muslim woman. I love being a Black Muslim woman in the Nation of Islam. I just love who I am. What Beyonce say, I'm cozy up in here. And so when I start seeing people talk to me and they want to dissect and let's pull this out and pull that out. And I said, well, we start pulling and ripping, that takes away from my authenticity. And I've worked very hard to be certain in my authentic self. And because I say I love myself, it should not be taken by someone else as a weapon. Because I'm far from a hater. If you know me, you know I'm not. That ain't how I roll. Something I don't like, I'll state it if I feel like it, or I'll move around, do what I got to do. But I think it's interesting how when we express our love for ourselves, um, people get uncomfortable with it. Especially if we embrace our gifts or embrace, you know, certain things about ourselves. And it's like, as a people, especially, I can only speak from, I'm only going to speak from that perspective, um, where we're constantly scanning each other to see what's wrong and what's right, um, physically. And I just think it's such an interesting thing that we don't connect with one another spiritually, and we still look at each other through the eyes of a slave master, where we're picking and analyzing. It's like you're always on the auction block. People are looking at your hips, they're looking at your breasts, they're looking at your face, they're analyzing, they're pulling it all together instead of looking at and loving you in totality. And so when I hear people saying things like, maybe you talk a little bit too much about God. And I said, well, that's who I am. Part of how I'm put together, God is at the center of it. I had a guy who analyzed my social media postings. And, these people do this because they want to see your brand. And he told me, he said, I don't understand these posts you be doing with these horses. And I said, I don't know that it's for you to understand. It's what I like, what I want to post. He says, yeah, but as a business person, I feel like everything should be related to the business. I said, the key phrase there is, you said, I feel, you feel. I said, because if I want to do business with somebody, I actually think it's nice if I can connect with them on some level. And I told him, I said, I bring all of me to the table when I sit on a board, when I do individual coaching, when I'm a business consultant. And I said, and a symbol of all of me, I know he probably thought I was crazy. We were on the Zoom. I said, because I'm 66 trillion years old. And the symbol of all of me is that every time I've materialized into this world, I've had a connection with horses. I said, so if I wake up and feel like I just want to post some horses, then I'm going to do that. I don't care if you say it's a business page and I shouldn't do that. So, they usually give up on me because what they can't wrap their mind around is when you start connecting who you are spiritually to what it is that you do. And I'm going to tell you, anybody who hires me or brings me on as a business consultant, as a coach, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what religion you are. You are really going to get somebody that's going to bring their whole self to the situation and their whole self to your project, and will try to really solve whatever problems that you may have. So when you decide you want to cut off a part of me, it's real conquerish and it's real pimpish and it's real slave masterish, because I feel like you feel like you're shopping for something. And if you're shopping for something and you just want that one part of me, then I'm no longer going to dissect that out and give you just that. I'm bringing all of me to the table. And I promise you, when I bring all of me to the table and all of who I am to the table, you'll be so impressed and so transformed by the energy, you'll feel bad for saying, let's just carve out this. Now, certainly if I'm talking to a bank and we're talking about, economics and banking, and if it's auditing, whatever it is, then obviously I'm going to stick to the subject. I'm not going to just be bringing up stuff. But a lot of us have a lot of gifts. And I think what happens, I think the reason why haters speak so loudly is because their loud speech scares people and prevents people from loving. And so the love we get afraid of, we're afraid to love loudly. And so the haters know that if they're loud, then that becomes a form of bullying. See, the loud hate, the loud greed, the loud liars, that's a form of bullying. And a lot of times when people do that to you, you know they're trying to dominate something. They're trying to crush whatever gift that you have that is out there in the forefront. So sometimes you bring your gift to the table, and if your gifts is looks, then people will look at you and then start looking and scanning you so that they can dissect. Let me tell you something. Stuff like that is so fleeting. You could be looking at somebody and they don't have any money, and all it takes is one contract. That's it, one contract. You could be looking at somebody and you might feel like they don't look that good. Let them get a little money. You're going to be double taking at them. Or let them lose 10 pounds, 5 pounds. I know for myself as a woman, a 10-pound difference, I feel changes the way I look. But it's all about, a person's taste. And so you just have to keep being consistent. Regardless of whatever that looks like, I still get my butt up in the morning. I still make sure I work out, still make sure things are together. But I'm not, and I still study and I still pray, but I'm not pandering or kowtowing to people who like to control people with lying and bullying and hate. So when Marianne Williamson posted that, it touched something deep in me. I got that. And I said, yeah, love has to stop whispering. And we have to be, just like we have to be intentional in order to be free, in order to do business with ourselves. See, the broader world's businesses kind of just fall in our lap. They advertise so hard that you don't really have to go far to find whatever it is that you want. So when you got to put in a little effort to shop with your brother or sister, travel a few extra exits down, wait a little longer, a lot of us have an issue with that. But we don't understand that in order to create that cooperative economics, that ecosystem, so that we're not out here and continuing to be taken advantage of and allowing the culture vultures to just suck all the blood out of our culture, we're going to have to make some extra efforts. And you got to be okay with maybe waiting a little bit, paying a couple dollars more, going down a few extra exits. When you decide that you want to love somebody, you decide you're in a relationship, it takes some extra effort. You can't just sit there going, I'm here, I'm who I am, they should know I love. Even with Allah, you got to pray. So you got to take that extra effort. If it's a family member or a friend, take the extra effort to reach out to them, send them a virtual hug, tell them you love them, say something. You got to make that effort. And so when love is practiced at a whisper, not only does it affect those external things, because we somehow in our mind think that love and everything else is supposed to just fall in our laps. And I don't know what we think, but that's what I think. And so we don't want to go that extra mile, that extra effort to say, hey, brother, you know what? I love you. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Or, hey, if it's something I can do that's going to help you out, give you a little relief, I'm going to come and do it. Sometimes we forget that, and we don't think we have to do that. So love has to stop whispering. It also goes into our self-love. Our self-love has to stop whispering as well. We continue to do, bad things to our body, bad things to one another, bad things to anything that looks like us because we don't love us. And I think it's because it's a number of reasons, because that's how we've been taught. But it's also because the media, in an effort to control us, like to show us how if we don't behave, that the proverbial they can take stuff from us. And then what we do is we marvel at that. We laugh at that. We make fun of that. And sometimes for some of us, deep in our heart, we're happy to see somebody lose something, or somebody who looks like us not be successful, because that lack of success, that loss, reconciles with the low self-esteem and the low way in which we see ourselves. And so it validates our identity, even if the identity of ourselves is wrong. So when we see somebody going through something, for a lot of us, we might rush to their side, but we're like literally okay with something happening to that person. Literally, a lot of us are like, okay, that's good. So all of these behaviors that happen out here in the world that we're taught, the loud, greedy person, the loud liar, the loud hater, they bully down the love, because you're so afraid. We become so afraid to love, especially to love ourselves loudly, because if we ever have a bump in the road, if we ever have a blip, if we ever have a challenge, then those loud folks are going to then turn and amplify their hate, their greed, their lies towards us. I think it's interesting. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells us to do for self, to accept our own and be ourselves, to love ourselves, look at what loving yourself, then he told us how, but look at what loving yourself does for you. See, most people, they don't believe that you could live a good life because they don't believe it for themselves. They don't believe it for themselves. So because they don't believe it for themselves, they damn sure don't believe it for you. So it's got to be something you're doing. That's why they make up stuff. Oh, that person's in the Illuminati. That one's this. And the powers that be, the media, they know that this is how we think. They know that this is how low our self-esteem is. So they just start these little soft rumors out there about people who are iconic or whatever in our community. And they keep floating these soft rumors, these soft things. Of course, if that person's living their life in the public, they're going to make a misstep. And heaven forbid these powers that be find out about it. When they find out about it, now that gets morphed into the soft rumors that they're floating. And so instead of us really rooting for someone to be successful, we're rooting for their downfall because we don't love ourselves. And we know it's wrong to feel like this about ourselves. See, the mere fact that you got that negative thought, the mere fact that you don't feel good about yourself, the mere fact that you turn your hate inward on yourself through your actions says that you're not aligned with God. And so all of that stress gets built up because, sin is made fair seeming. And so it's okay to be negative. It's okay to just sin on whatever level and not even have no shame about it. Because it's okay, then what that does is it starts to recalibrate us internally. And so now we feel bad about it. We know we don't feel good. So that recalibration makes us not feel good, makes us sick. You can see it all in our eyes, our face, our skin, our weight, that we're not happy because we're out of alignment. But it all goes from the trauma that is created in the world and in the media, that we're suffering from. See, we have trauma just through the vicissitudes of how we came here and how we, as certain African people, were moved around the world. You know, you had the Chinese who had slaves way back to the Tang dynasty with the Kunlun people that were slaves that were in Asia. You had slaves all over the world. You had these powerful Black people with these amazing gifts that people were coming and snatching us up and wanting to own us. It's almost like they're walking in a garden, they see a beautiful flower and they go, pop, I'm going to take this with me because I want this. And so that's how we've been handled. And so that's trauma related in and of itself. But then now you fast forward to today, and then there's trauma being created all around us. There's trauma in the music. There's trauma on television. They've gotten us to the point where we feed off of trauma. Some of us only watch movies that are traumatic. Some of us only look at videos and only like traumatic characters. Some of us like it when it makes a movie good when people get killed or shot, or arrested or raped, we like that. We feed on that. What's going on here? Because all we're doing is creating trauma within ourselves, because you start normalizing or making that behavior more fair seeming. Then you start adjusting to it. Next thing you know, you're expecting it. Next thing you know, you actually want it for yourself or for people around you, because you got to find a way to validate this low self-esteem. So accepting your own and being yourself means studying. I love to watch movies where I'm learning about myself. I'm studying my 66 trillion year history. That's how I look at it. I don't say our, us, we. I said, no, my 66 trillion year history. I love studying that. Man, look at this, look at nature. And so I love studying that because it makes me love myself and have more respect for myself. So if I'm going through something, then I'm too in love with God to give up. So I have to keep going, because I know somewhere in that 66 trillion year history, I've been through this before, where I've been through something like this. And I know that's real weird, spooky talk, but that's why it's important to know your history. That's why it's important. See, when people take your history away from you, you can't connect to the ancestors. You can't connect back and draw the through line from the creator through every one of your ancestors to yourself, so that you can say, like I just said, I am 66 trillion years old. So when you look at our great and beautiful history, and you look at how we're just a people of inventors and problem solvers, and we're so desired and so great that people want to possess us. I saw a post the other day where somebody said, Black people look so young and so beautiful despite all of what we've been through. Man, if we didn't have people trying to kill us and control us and take us, we'd be immortal. And I said, that is absolutely right. So I'll let that go for now, but I think y'all get where I'm coming from. I got about a 5-minute clip from our beloved father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And it's about gifts. And And it ties into this lecture because many of us have so many gifts that we leave on the table. We leave here and we don't even touch them. We don't even think about it. But when these gifts are divine, that's why people can be 60, 70, 80 years old and discover their gift and get wealthy overnight with the discovery of a gift or the attention on a gift. Because it's something that God gave us. He gives us as part of his expression of himself. But I think what happens to a lot of us is that we don't explore the gift because we're afraid. We're afraid of the criticism. We're afraid of what somebody's going to say. We don't like it. And so we just go, all right, I'm just going to stay in this safe, demure space and just do this one thing for the rest of my life. But I'm not going to do anything else. And I think because of that, we leave a lot of gifts on the table because we know that people only want that part of us. People just want to hire and possess us for what they want to use us for. And I think it takes a concerted effort to think out of that. I was on a live yesterday for Sajdah House. Let me say this before I show you this clip of the minister. And I was saying how the very first thought, it just felt like the most blessed day ever. Because my very first thought when I woke up yesterday was, man, I love you, Allah. I just love Allah. It was a love for Allah, a love for God that just came through me before I even opened my eyes. So I remember laying there and as you wake up, you get the awareness that you're waking up and asleep. And I went straight from that awareness into, I love Allah. And it was such a beautiful day because oftentimes we think of something else first, right? Most time we think of what time is it? Or we think of what I got to do today. Or we think of where am I? It's just any thought. Sometimes we think about whatever movie we fell asleep watching. That comes in our brain first. So we get that image of that actor or actress that was on the TV when we fell asleep at 10, 11 o'clock at night. We get that in our head first. Some of us, the first thing that pops in is our problems. Some of us, the first thing that pops in is our challenge or whoever we care or maybe even love. Sometimes those things pop in. We're all, things are different because, we're energetic people, we're vibrational people. That's always happening. But for me, I vibrated right from the awareness of feeling myself on the mattress into, man, I love God. And I just felt like it was such a blessed day. So somebody said to me, well, how do you do that? And I said, I don't know. I think some of it is training the brain. Some of it is calibrating the brain, being careful what you're watching and looking at before you go to sleep, being very intentional about how to program your brain, that kind of stuff. I said, but it's a gift. And that's how I saw it. It's like, oh, Allah, you gave me a gift today. You put me on your brain first thing in the morning, and then you let me know that I was on your brain. So therefore, you was all up and through me right then, first thing in the morning. So I don't know. And people were asking me, like a couple people DM'd me and was like, what does that mean? And how do you do that? And I will say this, because I really didn't know how to answer that question. After I thought about it, I was watching a program and it was some ancient religion. And if you know it in the chat, let me know. where it's somewhere in the East in Asia. They don't do anything other than, like, I'm paraphrasing, look for God all day. And that's how they live. They're almost like Buddhist monks or some kind of monks or something. And they just thrive for looking for God and communicating with God all day, every day. And I mean, I'm not like that. But I do look for Allah in everything, in every face, in everything. I do that. And so when you start training your brain to do that, I think it then makes it easier to connect. And then I think you can then, come up on a situation the way I woke up yesterday. So some of it is training. Some of it is training our way into that. But I do look for Allah in everything. I'm always looking to see him and to find him and to know that he's there. And yes, I do refer to Allah as a he. I've had people text me on that. Why do you say that? Well, because I was taught that God is a man, and we're not going to go into all of that. But I want to show you this about gifts. This little clip from the minister. And I just want to see what you think. I see y'all over here lighting up the chat. I see Assalamu alaikum, Sister Alita. I see Sister Brenda. I see Roz Nora. I see Brother Lamont. I see Brother Carlos. I see Sister Marva. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Yes. So I just want to get your feedback. I need y'all to be active in the chat because I want to get y'all feedback, and I want you to really, sometimes this is the thing. When we look at the minister, let me say it this way. We look at him like this, like he's there and we're here, and we look at it for entertainment, like it's good, like just the same way we may look at those movies. And then he'll say something, it's interesting because then sometimes he say something that make us then take it personal and pay attention. And then that's how we get, interested. But two things I want you to look at when I play this clip. I want you to look at how love emanates from his face and from his skin and from his voice. And I want you to try to take that in. I want you to just take in the love from the overall continence of his body and who he is. Take that love in and connect to that. Just try to just isolate that. And I'm going to play it for 5 or 10 minutes, just so you have a minute to take that love and take that feeling. Because for me, that love and that feeling, the love that bounces off of his face is an energy that can be packaged up and pulled up out of you, up inside of yourself. And I know for myself, when I was traveling around the world and I wanted to think about, the minister and, how he was doing and how, how our Father is, I would pull in that love, that energy. But that's the first thing I want you to do. And then I want you to listen. I said that so that you learn to nurse that energy. That's where I was going with that. Learning to nurse that love, that energy that you feel emanating from him doesn't have a face or has a form that comes through him, but pull it into yourself and nurse on that. It's going to change the way you look. It's going to change the way you age. It's going to change the way you conduct yourself. It will transform you literally. So I want you to do that. Secondly, listen to what he's saying about gifts and the weight of having a gift in a world that is training people to not recognize their gifts and to hate on other people because of their gifts. I'm going to play it. Let me play it. But those two things, what I want you to do. Okay.
But I will just start my lecture today by saying that all of us have gifts from Allah. No human being is without a gift from the Creator. And our duty is to discover that gift and cultivate that gift and use that gift for the glory of Allah and the furtherance of humanity. The greater the gift, the greater the trial. Because when Allah gives you a great gift, learning how to handle your gift rather than letting your gift handle you is a great task indeed. Sometimes it takes time to learn how to handle a gift. Some of us are born very handsome, and some of the sisters are born very beautiful. That's a gift.
Yes.
You must not let your gift handle you.
Yes.
Because handsome men and beautiful women in a world like this are tried severely, as well as very talented men and women, very especially gifted men and women. Our gift could become an albatross around our necks. The greatest of gifts is the gift of prophecy. When God raises a human being to that level that he's entrusted with the word of Allah, that gift puts the prophet or the messenger in a great period of trial, because the word is so powerful, it attracts people to you. You become like a magnet. Some people are good, some people not so good. Some people sincere, some people not so sincere. But that gift becomes your trial. Will you act by that gift in the manner that Allah requires, or will you allow the gift to spoil your character and make you unworthy of what you have received? So I thank Allah for allowing me to live long enough to see the greatness of Allah and the insignificance of myself. I'm going to say that again.
Yes, sir.
I thank Allah that He's allowed me to live long enough to bear witness to the greatness of God.
Right.
And to bear witness also to the insignificance of myself.
Wow. That little clip right there was so powerful. But did y'all see what I saw? Did you see the love? Did you see the gentle divinity? The silent power? Did you all see that? Did you hear what he said about gifts? And the gift is a currency. Your gift is a currency that everybody wants and that can become a trial for you, and all of us. So we have to be very careful. with our gift. I was, most of you all know that I'm a huge Prince fan. I was watching a short documentary that a woman who was one of his staff engineers in the 80s and 90s did with a journalist. And she was talking about what happens in the brain of a person who is a hyper creative. And I connect with him on that level of hyper creativity. But she was saying how when you know you have to do something, you turn on your creativity. So if you know you got to make a poster or you got to decorate a room, you turn on you look at the room, you turn on your creativity, you get a few ideas. And she said, when you turn on that creativity, you open a door or a portal in your brain. There's a technical term for it. It's like a door. You see, oh, I think I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You get these ideas, and then the door closes. So now you're isolated with that one idea, and you go with it. You start creating, you go into crafting it and putting it together. That way your idea then manifests, right? So now it goes from being a thought or a vibration in your head to an actual physical thing. So you got to close the door so you can go to work. But she was saying that somebody like Prince, that door never closed. So he would see something, do something, write a song, have an idea, and he would get creative, but the creativity and the creative ideas would never stop. So it was all consuming to him. So he would sometimes go 24 hours, take a break, go brush his teeth, take a shower, and then come back and get creative again. And so he literally would be wearing out these staff members because the way his brain worked, that door never closed. So he would flow from the idea, developing the idea, into crafting it and materializing it. While he's going through those steps, other ideas are coming. And so he's deciding what to pick up and what to do. And I just found that very interesting because I said a person with a gift like that could easily be used by people who, it's probably why he wrote slave on his face, who want to pimp him or use him to make money. Because a lot of people, believe it or not, don't have that level of creativity or that ability to hook into the universal mind and pull different things up out of it. Some people are just not creative at all. And a lot of times the more successful you become, this is why a lot of times people talk negative about success and wealth. Because as you begin to elevate and move to other levels, it's important to stay connected. I don't know if you all heard on the Mind of an Entrepreneur show where Brother Tyree, our newest rapper in the Nation of Islam, his manager Chris was on the show, and I said the idea is that he has to stay connected. And yesterday when I was shouting out sponsors, I did not mention that Tyree did give us a product placement of the commemorative Elijah coins in his most recent video. So shout out to Brother Tyree. I digress. When we put our gifts out there and our gifts are out there and the creative juices are flowing and people are looking at how they can make money off of us, and then we start to elevate. If we don't stay connected, we lose our creativity. And the only way to get new ideas and new thoughts is to take them from somebody else. That's why you have to be very careful when you're going and pitching your idea, pitching your movies, pitching. I've had so much stuff stolen from me, and to show you how I didn't see the value of it, because I can create and build so easily in my mind and then craft it. they steal it and I wouldn't even trip and be like, whatever, because I got more. Well, that is part of our divinity, which is what has allowed us, the through line that has allowed us to survive all the trauma. We go through trauma and we create off the trauma. And so we build a culture that has the traumatic pain in it. And so it's as beautifully, how do I want to say this? It's as detailed in its beauty as it is in its pain. So it's like we flip it, right? But as you elevate, you got to stay connected. Stay connected to your people. You have to stay connected to God. You have to stay connected to that creative side of yourself. And for me, I feel like the advice that I was given to look for Allah everywhere allows me to keep my creativity growing, because I can, use that to keep that creative door open. And so that's important. So these non-creative people who are not connected to God snatch up the created, connected people. And most of the time when you've been through the type of trauma that we've been through, you're going to be connected because we're a praying people. We're connected to God. We're always praying. And if we ain't praying, somebody praying for us. You might be out there in the street, but grandma back at the house praying for you. And those prayers work and are working. So those non-creative people grab us, snatch us up, and they're doing it to mine ideas, to mine the culture up out of us. When you look at other cultures who most times are not very accepting of us as flesh and blood people, but they're accepting of our culture. So they're on social media, they're listening to our music, they're listening to our dancing, and they're studying so deeply now that they're going back into the deep funk music, the stuff that we ain't heard in a long time. I mean, the level of people around the world who are thriving off of our culture at a rate that outpaces our earnings from it is phenomenal. And I wonder if this has ever happened in history. I'm inclined to think that it's never happened. I'm inclined to think that it's never happened because now we have social media, or if it's happened before, it hasn't happened at this magnitude that is happening right now, where the amount of people, from the music, and what do? When they steal a genre of music from us, we just go create something else. We go, okay, here's something else. Y'all took the jazz and the blues, we're going to create this or that. We're always creating. We're always making up new dances. We're always having new ways in which we stylize ourselves. We're always doing something different. And so we're like these little gold mines. They just go in and mine and take and take and take and take. So the question becomes, when do we start monetizing off of that? When do we allow ourselves to love ourselves enough so that we promote and monetize and celebrate our gifts and our culture? See, love has to stop whispering. Love for self, love for one another, love for culture, love for God. Stop whispering. It's people right now looking at this cringing because I'm saying, I love God. I love Allah. Ooh, look at the love on Minister Farrakhan. But see, that love has the potential to have more power than any hater, any liar, any greedy person if you speak up about it. But if you over here whispering and quiet and you let the love be overpowering, I should say, and overpower you let the hate overpower your love, you let the greed overpower your love, you let the lies overpower your love, then you lose the power in the love. And love is the most powerful energy ever. Ever. I think y'all got where I'm going with that. I'm gonna back up off of that. I got so much more I could say about that. Love is a superpower. I'm telling y'all. Love is a superpower. And you can do anything with love. And if we just turn ourselves and start loving ourselves more, respecting ourselves more, study your ancestors, study history, and just love on them. Say it out loud how much you love them. Get a history book and learn about 2 Black people that you never knew of, and try to do that today. Whether you Google it, do it every day, find 1 or 2 Black people that you never knew anything about. Watch a quick YouTube video on them, or read a short paragraph, or get a book, and be grateful for what they created, how they strived to survive, what they went through, and send gratitude, love, and gratitude energy their way. And then start to fall in love with our people and how great we are. And I promise you, our lives will change. Your individual life will change at first, and then the rest of our lives will begin to change. As a business person, I love looking at other people and how they've built and developed and what I know that they had to have gone through. And so I fall in love with it and have so much respect for other people who have built and developed, but especially myself, because we just don't get to see ourselves doing certain things. And I'm going to say this last thing, and I say this to y'all all the time. If you study and you can see yourself in a historical figure, then you and I will be less likely to hate on ourselves. Because there's some of y'all right now going, I hate my nose. I hate my lips. I hate my shoulders. I hate my chest. I hate my hips. I hate my waist. I hate my head. I hate my hands. I hate my feet. We sitting there right now. I hate my skin color. But if you were able to learn about great people throughout history that had the same nose as you, the same mouth, the same eyes, the same skin color, the same hair, same hands, same body shape, same feet, something the same. But if you were able to see yourself in those people, you'd be less likely, much less likely to hate yourself. Less likely to hate yourself, because then you can see yourself and attach yourself to greatness. That's why changing our history and not preserving our history and not knowing our history is sinful. That's a sin. So we got to take back our history. Let's stop waiting for them to put it back in the school systems. Let's stop waiting for them to put movies on television. Let's create our own movies. Let's create our own art that celebrates ourselves. Let's write down our own history. Let's go back to some of the housing. And even if you don't know that person, because a lot of people, sometimes history is so written off that even family members of great people don't even know them. That's a whole nother subject. Anyway, make sure you all go out and get your commemorative Elijah coin. Okay. First of all, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you're one of the persons watching right now, come over to YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe the channel and follow me on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Mo Today Universe, MOETODAY Universe, or at Sajdah House, SAJDAHHOUSE, or on Twitter, I'm The Authentic You, and on Facebook, it's Mind of the Entrepreneur. Somebody said to me, why don't you have all of your social media handles the same? I said, because I don't want to. I know that's what y'all do, but I don't want to. Plus, when they start shadow banning and trying to mess people up, they have to try to figure out, maybe make them go through a little work so they can figure out who is this person, who is the authentic you. And then make sure that we communicate with each other off of social media. Okay, so you see scrolling across here, text do for self, DO the number 4 SELF to 855-574-9099. That'll add you to my mailing list. That way we can communicate off of social media, because with all this hating, and they don't like people speaking up about their problems, and the lack of love out here, and the way the haters and the greedy people are talking so loudly, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Twitter, right? Because I saw all this stuff yesterday where they say Elon Musk has freed the bird. So we're going to see what happens. If he's cancel culture, as they say, that's what he's going to do. And I really hope that that happens, because some of it is just getting out of control. There's no cancel culture police. It's just the cancel culture executors. Anyway, go out, get your commemorative Elijah coin. Make sure you pre-order. The link is in the bio. Go out, pre-order your commemorative Elijah coin. There's only going to be another 125 for right now in production. So if you don't get it now, you might not be able to get it, and y'all gonna be mad as soon as y'all see the minister's picture in the final call with him and Mother Khadijah wearing their coin. You start seeing everybody else wearing their coins, you're going to be like, I want one. I've already got pictures of people who start to bling theirs out. This one brother sent me a picture. I got to check and see if he posted it. He put diamonds all around his. Y'all going to be seeing that, and you don't have one, you're going to be mad. Okay. So if you go to sajdahhouse.com, you'll see the link to the graded coins. This coin is important, but right now we're really pushing the pendants for these 125 that we have, so that I don't have to listen to y'all when that picture comes out. But you're going to have to go to the link in my bio and click the link so that you can pre-order it, and you'll get them like in 2-3 weeks. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Happy Saturday. May Allah bless you with more goodness, more love, more wealth, more peace, more of everything than you've ever envisioned or imagined. May your wildest dreams come true, and may you love Allah on a level to where you can begin to see yourself the way that He sees you. Peace and blessings, family, and I'll talk to y'all later.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1-ounce 39mm coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com.